Hey guys, what's good? It's Carnivore live Q&A, Carnivore Muscle Ramblings, segment number 46 today with myself and Jerome Armstrong from 18 Minute Fitness.
We're not live yet.
Hope-
It's not showing us being live.
Apparently it is live.
Is it?
I
Okay.
think you're trying to warm me up.
I'm sorry. No,
We'll,
maybe my StreamYard
we'll
is
soon
acting
see.
up. Okay.
We'll soon see in the chat. I think a lot of our lives start like this nowadays. It's always like a 5 minute. Are we live? Can you hear me? Am I echoing? We'll see soon in the chat.
Yeah, you sound good to me, but in the upper right-hand corner in stream, there we go. Now it says we're live. Okay. Maybe my internet's being slow. I just ruined the opening.
What doesn't matter. People know if I open it, it's going to be full of banter and laughter and all sorts of sounds and stuff like this one. Attention. We've arrived. Sound clear, brilliant. Yeah, that's good to hear. Right, where are we? So, muscle ramblings, not waddling ducks. I'd get pumps in the gym today for some pulling, overwhelmed with energy. Yeah, I always get a good pump when I pull it.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the like button. Yes, definitely hit the like button. Bonus composition coins today. I'm feeling very generous. So we've got, I believe Rick was first in the chat, so 100 composition coins to him, of course. Spignev can also have 100 point coins for always chiming in.
That's quite charitable of you.
Yes, they do add up, I think. We've got Ben as well. Brilliant. That's it. All right, so we'll get straight into it. So I'm going to talk to Jerome for maybe 10, 20, maybe 30 minutes about his current training, his diet, how he's getting on with his progression. We had a very brief discussion off air, just asking about all his stuff. This actually links to this question here. So brilliant timing. Jerome, what's going on? How's your training going?
Sure. Training continues to be fairly exhausting, but I am getting the workouts in. Having this last weekend off and not having my daughter, I got 2 of the workouts in Saturday and Sunday. Strength is holding steady for sure, very slightly improving, and my weight is going down 3 to 4 pounds a week. So when I hopped on the scale yesterday, and I know I need to send you an update, I was 238 and some change. So pretty consistently, a little over 3, almost 4 pounds a week, I think so far. And again, my weight with working overnights is kind of fluctuating, up and down quite a bit, depending on where I am in that cycle of working, 4 days straight of 16 plus hour days. But by the time I have a day or 2 off, it seems like it really normalizes. After a first full 24 hours off, I kind of have like a whoosh effect, and I just feel like I dump a lot of water. And I think the extra sleep is kind of balancing out my cortisol levels, and then all the water I'm retaining kind of goes out. So yeah, everything is, and I need to send you the physique update and scale updates. I've been really bad with that. But everything is continuing to move in the right direction. We just are now a few days under 12 weeks, and this is still an exciting time. There's still plenty of time, but it's a little nerve-wracking at the same time.
It should be, yeah, I believe you're looking at, is it something like 200 to 205 pounds on stage?
Probably. So the last DEXA scan I have, and I do have more muscle than I did then, had my fat-free mass at 188 pounds. And you can kind of reverse, you can Mickey Mouse the math, right? If you held on to that exact amount of lean body mass, and then you said, okay, but now what's that amount of body mass at 5% body fat? It puts my weight at like, I think right around 200 pounds. I would have to kind of fudge the math on that. So I would imagine I'll probably be between 200 and 210. So we're just under 12 weeks. I'm 238 and some change. And I know there's going to be a little bit of water loss before stepping on the show the day of the stage, but we're kind of right at that line of having to push things relatively aggressively to continue to hit about 3 pounds a week. But so far we've been exceeding that rate, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it does take dedication. You have to be focused on your goals. So Jerome's adherence will be very different to a lot of people. I mean, I know you've been sticking to it very closely, and that's yielded results. So
Yeah.
we're obviously trying to go quite fast here, but yeah.
And then since even since like the last whole week straight, I've been having one meal a day. It seems like when I get that first meal in, it kind of starts my appetite. Not that it's necessarily bad at any point over the course of the day, but it seems like my appetite is best controlled at the moment if I just have one meal a day, and then I'm having all 600 grams of beef, and I eat my cheese while the beef is cooking, and then the butter's in the pan. And again, I'm dumping everything out, trying to scrape as much as I can out of the pan into a big bowl, eat my beef, drink from the bowl, and I'm trying to be as consistent with that as possible.
Yeah, that
So
certainly works. Yeah. Yeah, there's no issue doing one meal a day versus two. What I've noticed myself now, so I've been cutting, if it were, as in cutting body fat for maybe, I want to say like 8 to 10 days now. So I started at 112.7 kilos. I'm now somewhere around 109. So I've dropped quite a bit. So you're looking at about 8, 9 pounds or something in a week and a bit. I've noticed now my feeling throughout the day is starting to suffer a bit. What I've done is I've looked at my intake, compared it to weeks prior, and I'd say it's probably reduced by about 25%. So of course, no wonder why when I'm eating around about 200 grams of fat per day, and I was having 300 grams, you can work out the math yourself. So yeah, my appetite's gone up, as in not so much that I'm starving hungry, but I'm thinking about food more.
yeah.
So that kind of tells me to either reduce the output a little bit, or
Yeah.
increase the food very slightly, because I'm still getting results anyway. So I've obviously cut too hard, but strength is still maintained. I'd say probably not quite as good in terms of increases weeks prior, but to be expected. I've dropped a lot of weight, a lot of water weight, especially. So
And
yeah, but
there's something you said this morning on the video I did that I would like to draw attention to, if you don't mind me taking the mic
go
for
for it.
3 to 5 minutes here. I had a question about, do I recommend people do direct abdominal training? And I mentioned that bodybuilders usually, I say no, because I think bodybuilders should have a V-tapered waist. You should have a really small waist into wide shoulders and wide back. And that I don't normally train abs getting ready for a contest. And Jonathan has me training abs, so I'm doing them. And then offline, Jonathan told me the reason he has me doing that is at my heaviest, I was 297 pounds. So when I get, into the low 200s or just a little under 200, I have just a little bit of loose skin on my lower abdominals. And I hadn't realized that Jonathan had taken that into account. He was thinking, since I so seldom train abdominals, they'll be almost hyper responsive. I can almost have like noob gains or newbie gains training abdominals. And if I bring up my midsection just a little bit, it'll tighten that skin because it'll be a little bit more volume of muscle underneath, and that won't be as noticeable of an issue. And I hadn't considered that aspect of it when he had written direct abdominal work into my routine. And I'm really grateful for that. And I wanted to draw attention to that because that level of detail, knowing my own individual concerns, and that was something that I had expressed months ago that we hadn't even talked about leading up until this contest. So the fact that you remembered that and took that into consideration when outlining my training for this contest, knowing it's something I wouldn't normally do, but something that does make sense and actually should help me look a little bit better on the day of the show, that really meant a lot to me. And that says volumes about how attentive you are as a coach and the amount of detail that you take into consideration for your clients. So I wanted to thank you online for that, because I trying to put all of that, sentimentality into just one Instagram message. I don't think I could have really gotten that point across of how much that meant to me once you had explained that. I just thought initially, oh, he just wants me doing ab training. And then when you explained that on my comments this morning on the video I did, I was really taken aback and really grateful and really thankful for that. So thank you.
Cheers for that. Not too bad. Yeah, I do listen. Two ears, one mouth. That's what it is. That's why I always value like that. Like what I say to people when I'm coaching them is, or writing a training plan, book a consultation first. I need to know you. The average person isn't going to reveal to me, oh, by the way, I've got a little bit of loose skin that I want to sort of get rid of before I compete. but I've known Jerome for quite a long time now, so I've picked up all the subtle sort of hints and tips about like how to work with him as a client. But I'll address your point in a better way in a second. I'm just gonna welcome in Sophie because she's waiting in the studio. How's it going?
Good, you?
Hi, Sophie.
Hi.
I'm just gonna remove the echo from Sophie's. I can't.
Any better?
Jerome, do you hear yourself when you speak?
I hear Jonathan when he speaks. And I hear myself when I speak.
Shall I go?
Sophie, restart it. Have a go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I went into her microphone settings, and now I don't hear you at all. I don't hear myself at all. I went into her settings, and echo cancellation was checked. It was enabled, and we were still getting that. So
weird. Our boots are out now anyway, so you might rejoin in a second.
It's just the boys today.
Just the boys. Well, I kind of go with that point. Yeah. So ab training. This isn't oblique work, so I'm not telling Jerome to work his oblique. So I am hyper focused on getting that V shape, so from his waist to his shoulders and his lats. So I'm not giving him like side bends and all this sort of stuff. For a men's bodybuilding thing, you don't need that. As you get leaner, you'll start to show the muscles on the side. That will probably just come in due time. But the main focus is keeping that shape. You know, you're going to be more. What's the word? You're going to kind of shine on stage when you've got that nice silhouette. You know, it comes more prominent. It's the first thing you notice in someone. So that's something I'm very focused about. And with obviously you said about being 297 pounds at one point, you've not been training abs, so your core strength will probably be less than a lot of other people. And I know that you're focused on, you know, not doing unsafer movements, which would develop your core much more like I don't believe you do like squats and deadlifts and things. So I wouldn't really see the value of adding that sort of thing as a core kind of movement, because it just takes away from everything else. But yeah, the abdominal muscles, the six-point muscles, are very thin sheath of muscle. And I know the way he trains with the cadence he trains, he's not going to speed that up. When you speed that up, it actually activates more of the oblique muscles. So you know, when this all comes into it, when you're sort of developing someone's plan, and a lot of it is just about abdominal control and maybe build a little bit of muscle there. Then I think as weeks progress, I might add in like an ab plank or something, and that would just be progression from a standing ab plank. So a standing ab vacuum to then bending over a bit and then bending over a bit more. Then that'll progress into a plank vacuum kind of thing, and it'll just be incremental. So I'll say to Jerome, do however many times a week. Start in 30 seconds, do 40, 50. By the time show you day comes around, it'll make a big difference.
Sure. Yeah.
And when I compete, when I do my compulsories are solid. I'm usually the only person on stage who's not like panting, heavy breathing, and sweating everywhere, because I condition myself to hold those poses for a really long time. And that's kind of what I'm going for with Jerome. It's all good me getting Jerome into really good shape, but he has to be able to present it as well. If he's going to look back at his photos and he's like heavy breathing, you know, it's not a nice look. You want to look back at these photos and have something to remember. So I've got all this kind of factored in. So I appreciate you mentioning that, and of course, thank you. So
yeah, and yeah, you're 100% right. Like, we, having competed before, you're not necessarily holding a pose that long when you're holding it on stage, but you don't want to be the guy that's like dripping sweat while you're, you know, going through your 7 mandatory poses. And especially being able to hold a decent abdominal vacuum on certain poses. And really, like, aside from the mandatories, which we're going to have to nail, there's going to be a lot of poses that we won't know what good poses will really be for me until the last couple of weeks, when we can kind of see exactly how my physique is getting close to the day of the show. There'll be certain things that we'll want to emphasize. There'll be certain things that we're going to want to try and hide a little bit. So that the last couple of weeks, I imagine at some point we'll probably do kind of like a posing coaching video. Maybe we can do something like this, but we'll record it. And I'll record it in my house, and then you can do commentary, and then we can put that up here. But I'm excited to show this whole process.
Yeah, I look forward to that. It'll be good. And I am particularly good at posing. I'd say of all the things that come to contest prep, I'll probably say 1, getting in shape, and 2, posing is what I'm good at. Not so good at tanning. Not so good at tanning. Should we bring Sophie back on then? I think she's ready.
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
We'll try. How's it going?
Hello. Is that any better?
So far,
Apparently.
so good. Yeah. Hey. All right.
Okay.
Like the green screen.
Excellent.
It's
Although
great, isn't it?
part of me wants to say I'm still getting an echo just to kick your ass off the live stream.
You could do that. You don't even have to lie, Jerome. If you want me gone, just say I'll go. I'll go.
I'm a man. You're a woman. We've been lying to you guys for millennia. You know, things aren't about to change.
And you probably all still are, but we know we're not stupid. You just think we don't know.
No, you guys are far smarter than we are. Have
We
you
hide
seen?
it.
Have you seen how guys are when sports are playing? We're shirtless. We're
Yeah.
painting our chests. We're bumping into each other like a bunch of stupid gorillas.
Have you seen our
But you
restrooms?
Yeah,
You look on point. You do. You look fantastic.
women are by far smarter than men. I have no problem conceding that point.
Yeah,
I
I've
do
been.
see a lot of videos on the internet of this is why men don't live as long as women, because they're like standing on a ladder halfway up a house,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, that's gonna fall.
Yeah,
But
that
they're
you guys
standing on a tree trying to cut it the wrong side, and you're like, okay,
you
I
guys
see.
nag us to death too.
There's a reason, isn't there, Jonathan? There's a reason.
Yeah. Well, I think you should try to be as wealthy as possible, so you never have to do these things. So you can pay someone else to do it, or date or marry someone that's thick enough to do it, so you didn't have to put yourself at risk.
Or marry rich, just
Or marry rich.
marry for the money. So I'm hoping you speed up this income a bit more.
Sure.
My income's gone to shit the last 2 months. Meanwhile,
Oh,
Jerome's
well, I
picked
think
up
we need
like
to have a
5
conversation.
clients.
Yeah, I think I'm up 8. I think since June
8.
1st.
That's so good to hear.
And then working a full-time overnight job that at this point I probably don't even need. I don't know. I'm not right in the head, so don't listen to anything I say. This is why I hired Jonathan for this contest prep, so I don't have to think. I can just execute.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hardest part that Jerome has is obviously managing all the stuff he does do. Maybe being a bit hungry sometimes at some points. But it makes it so much easier when you've got someone just telling you what to do.
Yeah.
And as long as you can stick to the plan, that's probably the hardest part, is sticking to the plan. Just having the end goal in sight. I think a lot of people don't see that. So when I'm competing, I'm always thinking, okay, I look like this in my last show. Now with all this extra knowledge, all this extra muscle, all this maybe a bit of extra money to spend on things and be more prepared, I can do better than that. So I already know what I'm going to look like, but I'm going to think this plus 5%. So that's always helpful to look back at. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to a question. Then after this one question, we'll talk about Sophie's new YouTube channel. I'll give her a chance to elaborate on what she's doing.
I just have a quick question before we start.
Yeah.
Can I share this to my audience now that I'm already on it?
You should be able to, yeah. I think Kim did it in the last one.
All right. Can I give it a go?
Yeah, try it. Press the buttons.
Thanks. Don't mind me. Carry on.
All right. So Ben asked, how are your hunger signals, Jerome? Sorry, I missed the first 10 minutes.
Sure. So originally, Jonathan had me on 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And that was because at the time I had communicated to him that I was generally feeling better on smaller, slightly more frequent meals. As my weights continued to come down, I had about a week and a half where I took that down to 2 meals a day. I just skipped breakfast, made it to lunch and dinner, and then just split those meals evenly. Instead of 3 meals, I just had 2 perfectly even sized meals. And now the last 10 plus days or so has been 1 meal a day. And 1 meal a day is enough to where I don't really get hungry at all. I have that 1 meal at night, and I maybe get just a slight hunger pain kind of right before bed. So it's very, very manageable in that regard. I know that probably that last month there will definitely be some hunger, but there are ways to kind of work around that. But at least at the moment, yeah, I'm keeping the macros exactly the same. I'm still weighing my food literally down to the gram. I'm weighing everything raw to the gram and then doing as best as I can. Like I'm licking my bowl out to try and get every gram I can, because that's what the plan calls for. So hunger has been very, very easygoing so far. And I hope it'll continue to stay that way for quite some time.
Yeah, I think you get to that pinch point where I'd say for me, it's about 15 pounds out from show day weight. I start to get a bit like, I could really do eating a bit more. So usually I'll actually split up my food intake. So I do the opposite of Jerome, which is completely weird and unique to me. I'd actually, when I'm deep in a pre-contest phase, at least last time I ate, went from about 4 steady meals per day down to 5. And that was also with a lower food intake. So 4 decent meals to 5 tiny meals. I don't know. I don't think part of that is real hunger. I think a lot of it is just like your innate desire to just eat and remember to like keep fueling. I don't think it's a requirement from the body. And sometimes you just have to do things that don't make sense. If that makes sense.
Well, then even since I went carnivore basically 5 years ago, I've had very few times where I would say I've had real legitimate hunger. It seems like my body most of the time is like, hey, when you can, throw a little bit of food our way, or I might get one single like strong hunger pain, and then it just goes away. So I've had very, very little what I would call real hunger since then. But I admit I'm a bit of a baby in that regard.
Sophie, how's your diet going anyway? Also, tell us about your new channel.
My new channel, Muscle Mama Sophie. It's good. I have, I think, over 70 subscribers now, 78 maybe.
Very good.
Planning on shooting another video, which I was going to do tomorrow, but I don't actually have the ingredients to make the meal because Jerome suggested to do my favorite meal, which I was going to do, but I don't have the ingredients to do that. The main source of it being the meat, really. So I'm going to have to do that another day. But I think there's still one in the backlog, isn't there? My journey so far.
What is your favorite meal? Unless you don't
it's
want to
actually
spoil it.
bolognese.
Okay.
Bolognese, and then obviously carnivore pasta, well, spaghetti, because Tilly loves the carnivore spaghetti. But yeah, bolognese all the way. Love that.
Yeah. I mean, Sophie's going to do lots of kind of family-friendly kind of videos. So stuff like you can show your kids how to do this. And kids are always more inspired if they watch something with maybe other kids doing it, their hands in the bowls. I think a lot of the hard work starts in the kitchen with the kids. When they see where the food comes from. So we might, I don't know, visit a farm one day if Tilly allows it. Play with some of the animals and just film like some fun stuff, which is like kind of real, like this is where your food comes from. That sort of thing. I think that'd be nice to see. But
not in like a scary way. So I've decided that I don't want the kids to be like the main focus of the channel, but they will be included in like the recipe ones and probably the workout ones because I have to work out with the kids. And Tilly loves to cook and she loves to bake. She's happy to get her hands in. She loves to crack an egg and she's pretty good actually. She doesn't normally get the shell in. So yeah, I think especially she can be a fussy eater. She was a lot worse than what she is. And I think getting her involved in the kitchen, in prepping, cooking, obviously as much as safely possible, I think is good because then she can see what's for dinner because she's making it. It's not just like here, have this. It's you've helped me make this, so eat it now. The whole point of it. But yeah, no, I've started like a new routine this week. So I'll be working out before breakfast. I did have my alarm set this morning, but I was clearly very tired because I snoozed it and went back to sleep, which I've never done. But I think it's catching up with me, Maddie being awake for like 4 hours in the night the other night. So
yeah.
So I'm going to be doing that. I've got my alarm set and hopefully I don't snooze it this time. But either way, I'll work out before breakfast and just let the kids run riot in the living room. And then, I'm not tracking my food. I'm still eating low carb and I've got on the fridge like a list of meals that I'm going to have for whatever time of day. There's not like a set, it's going to be eggs for breakfast. It's, well, if I fancy yogurt for breakfast or yogurt for tea, then I'll have that. But I'll kind of stick to the same kind of meals and be low carb carnivore. And then I'm actually doing a little experiment for my channel. My first experiment, I'm doing cold showers every evening just to see what effect, if anything, it has. So I've had my first one tonight, which is why I was late here.
How was it? Was it refreshing? Did you enjoy it?
It wasn't as bad as I was expecting, actually. I don't know whether it's my shower is just not that cold, but it was on the coldest setting, and I was anticipating it to be fucking freezing, and you're like that. But no, it was
Yeah.
all right. It was a good 2 to 3 minutes, and I was front back flipping around and just kind of letting it fall on me. And it was all right. It was colder when I got out compared to a hot shower, but no, it wasn't too bad actually.
Good.
Mm.
The couple times I've done them, I hyperventilate really bad when the water is on my head. I would much rather do cold baths.
Yeah, I did debate cold baths, and me and Jonathan did talk about a plunge type pool, but I think we was well, let's try it in the bath first before we get a plunge pool, and then I just haven't braved a cold. I've had a colder bath than normal, but it's not been what I would say cold therapy cold.
Okay. I've done that sometimes where I sit in the tub and I start filling it with the water on the coldest setting possible. And then the really, really gradual water rising kind of makes it easier sometimes than trying to just climb into a really cold bathtub. But I really enjoyed those for a while. When I was really struggling to sleep late last year, that was one thing that helped. It was basically sit in a coldest bathtub I could get for an hour and a half or 2 hours until I thought I was going to die, and then dry off and go to bed.
Oh, okay. I'll try that. Jonathan, you could try that. That might help you sleep.
Yeah, it might do. I'm pretty good at having cold
Fidgeting.
showers and stuff, and fidgeting.
Yeah.
Well, that's Sophie's channel just down here, guys. I'll put it on the screen. Lamb's also linked it as well, but I think you have to be a moderator on the channel for it to be clickable. So hit that thing that's on the screen now in the live chat. There's a button somewhere which will say subscribe. Then, free of charge, you can enjoy all of Sophie's previous and upcoming videos.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Hit the bell as well to get notified, because I don't know when they're coming. So hit the bell.
No, they just come whenever, right?
It is, yeah. Whenever I feel like it. Whenever my producer, that side, helps me and does it.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out a good level of editing to do in her videos without it seeming really unauthentic and not real, not Sophie's kind of style. Yeah. So it's a hard balance to do, because if I edit it the way I edit my videos, it come across a bit weird, I think. But
although the one that I did all by myself wasn't too bad, was it? The very first video, I think it was the low carb pitters, the flatbread. Considering I did all of it myself and uploaded, I mean, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't as terrible as I was expecting.
No, it wasn't bad at all. Nah. Yeah, we'll just get the thumbnail sorted out. So now Sophie's got kind of a theme to sort of stick to. But it's so hard when you don't, Jerome and I have spoken about this before, that there is a certain style you kind of have to follow. It's got a few words on the screen with a few words in the title that kind of interlink somehow. You got to make it clickable at the end of the day. Everyone else is doing it, and if you don't do it, you fall behind. But I tried to make the video informative, but I got a good video out recently. I think it was it yesterday or something? I talked about the carnivore diet is not working, or I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, you wrote something like they're killing the carnivore diet or something like that.
Oh yeah, the carnivore diet has gone to shit or something.
Yeah,
but it did relate to the video, but it wasn't very specific. So I think that actually worked to my favor, and people generally seem to quite like it. And of course, it got probably about 5% of people didn't like it. So
shocker.
I'm not sure why, because everything I said in that video was factual and accurate. And the same thing Dr. Ken Berry said, same thing Dr. Anthony Chafee said. I just came out there and said it, basically, in a very direct fashion.
That's the problem.
You're always going to get a certain percentage that don't like whatever you say for some reason. So
yeah, it's only the lives that get 100% likes, I think. But as long as it's above, generally speaking, my channel average is above about 99%. It speaks volumes, doesn't it?
I wonder how many dislikes I'll get.
Probably not many, Sophie.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine.
You're female. Yeah. One of the carnivore influencer people came out, and So she said, okay, I'm not following a strict carnivore diet, and everyone sung to her praises and said how great she was for coming out and saying that. Whereas if I said that, people would say I'm a bad person. I'm trying to kill people.
Yeah.
Quite
lying.
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, what? So I think being a female in this space is definitely advantageous. There seems to be something useful. So, yeah, sorry, Lambs, you are a moderator. I was just thinking, because I don't often type in my own chat when I'm live because my keyboard is, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet in front of me. I forgot that when I put it on. And unfortunately, when you're actually live and you press the buttons, it doesn't say who's a moderator, which is really annoying. So 98% should be 100%. It should be 100% happy people. German gets 100%.
100% every time. Except for one video I did, I critiqued Mike Menser, and everything I said was valid. And I pointed out his own hypocrisy within his own video, and I got like 51% approval. And part of me is like, kind of love this. But if we're going by like Sterling Silver standard, something like 99.1% or so is essentially pure. So yeah. You're right on the cusp of
98.9%.
Yeah, unadulterated approval.
Yes, that's a soft kind of comment here to sort of say, hit like in the video now.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've not got many questions in the chat tonight, guys. So we'll just have a little ramble. So Jerome, what upcoming lives or videos, whatever, do you have coming up soon, or is that not planned yet?
Sure. I kind of tend to do videos on by caprice. So if I find an article that piques my interest, then if it's something that isn't going to be too time consuming, then I'm going to be doing more live videos kind of covering that. The biggest focus recently with creating content is going to be documenting as much of this transformation and getting ready for this contest as much as possible. And I've been quite poor with that so far, but I really want people to see everything that goes into a contest, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about it. And I've talked before about how a lot of you and I getting ready for a show is just being a little bit more strict for a significantly longer period of time than most people. And it's that tends to get people from, 12 to 15% down to like low single digits. It's nothing crazy. We're not doing anything outrageous. It's just execution of a basic sound plan for a consistent enough period of time. So yeah, usually if someone sends me an article, if I find an article I find interesting, I text myself the link. And then if I have time, like I did this morning, then I'll do a quick live video on it. But I would like to try and do at least 1 to 3 videos a week, provided I can find ways to keep it interesting and informative. But at the same time, we're also our own harshest critics. So I tend to think, even like videos today, I'm thinking like, who's going to want to hear me ramble about Phil Heath?
I know, right?
Yeah, but the turnout was better than I had expected. So there must be some value to that. What about you guys?
Yeah. What about you, Sophie?
So I've got a recipe video whenever I have the ingredients to do it. I'm going to do a video. I might just do it like a 5-day thing of like my little first experiment to kind of have a ramble about that. And then I was thinking, because I've got the video of my weight loss journey, and I was thinking maybe like a monthly update, because I feel like every 2 weeks might be like too soon. Like not much might have changed, and I feel like it's just me saying the same crap again and again. So maybe like every month might be quite good. Considering I started it on a Monday, it's probably quite helpful to be like every 4th Monday or something. Or not a Monday because I work it, but yeah, monthly kind of updates on that maybe. I'm going to try and record my workouts, because I'll be doing them before breakfast. I will hopefully not have the kids, but it will be like before 6 a.m. So it might be a bit touchy to do it outside, providing I'm not too noisy, like chucking any dumbbells down. But my camera skills are shocking, as we know. So we'll see, because I really don't think Jonathan's going to get up at 6 a.m, come down and film me working out when he's
Might
here.
do one day. I'm pretty good at getting up. That's not the issue. It's moving that I struggle with.
Yeah, no,
definitely
you're
moving.
awake. You just don't come out of bed. We're normally downstairs for a good half hour, 45 minutes, and then he comes down. And
Yeah.
I'm like, good morning to you. You're with us.
Yeah, I tend to just go for emails and do stuff on the phone at that point. Like when I wake up, thing is, I like to get all my stuff done. So any sort of longer emails I'll do at a time when I know I've got like an hour spare. Any shorter like messages, comments, or whatever, maybe if I've got half an hour spare, I'll just go for all of those. It does take a bit of time, to be fair, but you got to get it done. Otherwise, people think you're rude. So,
well,
that's
lucky
it.
for me, I don't have many comments and stuff to reply to, so I'm all right.
You had a couple recently.
Because they'll have to wait because I got working kids. I can't reply as quick as you can.
Well, I
Someone's
keep
gonna run
waiting.
this.
I keep waiting for my video about your favorite meal, and I just keep making
I
me
don't have
wait.
the ingredients. You'll have to wait a little bit longer, and then you have to wait for my producer. That's that side.
Yeah.
To do his thing for it because I have no idea. And then we can upload
It's
it.
about, yeah, it's about, if I do a very light edit, it's about 30 to 40 minutes.
Mhm.
That's just doing the bare minimum just to make it a bit better. But I could spend another hour probably on each one and make it 5% better than that. But then by that point, it's like, there's only so many hours in a day, sort of thing. Well, last night I was doing it till whatever time at night. So,
But yeah, I will
It's to
hopefully
be
get that
enjoyable.
recorded this week, and then hopefully it'll be out maybe next week.
Excellent.
Yeah, very good. I'm trying to find a YouTube channel that has options to join the channel. Maybe if I find, who am I subscribed to, but I don't pay money to.
Nicole,
I
Him,
pay
but
money
she
to her.
just hit 1,000. Okay.
him.
Pim doesn't have a membership join thing.
Well, there you go. You said you don't pay money to.
Yeah, no, she doesn't. I can't pay her money because she doesn't have a channel membership option.
Oh, I have no idea then.
I want to show the users how to join my channel.
Does Jerome have a membership option?
No.
No, he's a noob. He's only got like 600 subscribers.
Yeah, I'm a noob.
I'm going to beat you.
Okay,
Even though Jerome's been doing YouTube longer than me.
that's fine. I hope you do, Sophie.
I probably won't, don't worry.
God, it's hard to find this.
Yeah.
It is really
I
hard
think
to find. I'm actually struggling to find
yours
it.
is the only channel I pay money to. And that was just
Good.
to get the ball rolling, so I should probably cancel it now, really. But
No, I've got 12 channel members. I need to maintain that at least.
oh, okay. Well, you can pay me the money every month then to pay for your channel.
Don't know about that.
To be fair, I do get coaching advice for you from you for free, so I suppose I could pay the lowest membership.
£1.99, which I get £1.50 of or something, or £1 less than that, £1.30, I think.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. Yeah, I can't find it, guys. I did look, but yeah, the YouTube channel membership, if you go onto my profiles, where most of you are probably watching this, you click on Carnivore Muscle. There's a button somewhere which is like membership or channel perks or something like that. If you click on that, there's a button which says like join. Then there'll be a choice of 3 tiers. It'll be a drop down menu. It'll say tier 1, $1.99, tier 2, $3.99, something like that. Then tier 3, I think, is $8.99. So that's basically how you join. You pay through your Google account, I imagine, if you've got a YouTube channel. You'll have access to premium content, but not OnlyFans.
No.
No.
We're not doing that.
No.
Absolutely not.
OnlyFans for carnivores.
Just sitting eating a steak in your pants.
Yeah, Rick's had a carnivore. Sorry, Rick's had a YouTube channel for a very long time. Subscribe to Rick as well, where it.
Sorry, I want to see if this works. If you're on Jonathan's channel, right over here, it says join.
Oh yeah,
and then you can pick your tier.
That's clever.
Sorry to hijack the screen, Jonathan.
That's helpful. Thank you.
All right, let me get rid of that then. There we go.
Let's show them again just in case.
Sure.
So there's a button.
Yep. So
Where is it?
you go to your subscriptions. Here's Drew. I don't want to name him. Jonathan's
Just
channel. Jonathan's channel. Search for Carnivore Muscle, and then over on the right-hand side, you have the option to subscribe. And there's also the button that says Join. And if you click the Join button, you will have a number of options: Gym Rats, Gym Bros, Gym Pros, depending on which tier you're interested in joining. I would highly recommend at least the Gym Bros at the level that I'm currently at. $4.99 a month. It's a cup of coffee. And for the information that you get in the early access to videos and additional access to Jonathan, it's well worth $5 a month.
Cheers, thank you. Yeah, that's a good. I think that's quite good value. I mean, I've seen some channels that charge a minimum of like £5 and it goes up to about 40. I'm like, I don't know who out there I pay that much money to, really, to watch their videos. I don't think there's anyone. Apart from Sophie, but Sophie's not got the videos out yet. Well, I get to watch them for free because I make them all.
That is true. You do get backstage access.
Yeah, basically what I do, guys, is I have a massive backlist of videos. So what you see that premieres on my channel, and also Sophie's for that matter, is something we may have made weeks in advance. What I do is as soon as I've made them, rather than put them into that unlisted backlog kind of pile, I'll put them straight out to Premier members. So I might sometimes advertise, oh, I've got this video coming out. It'll be members only, or it's an early access release sort of thing. So that's useful if you guys are interested in a particular topic. Yeah, anyway, we're going to go to the thing, which I think is somewhere.
The thingamabob.
Oh, yeah. So question from Ben. Discuss workout splits, advantages, disadvantages, etc. That's a good question. Sophie, do you want to start, or Jerome, do you want to start?
It's all you, Sophie.
Well, I'm now doing a dumbbell upper, dumbbell lower split, which I will simply alternate continuously. I know some people work on like in a 7-day period, as long as I cover it, each body part kind of 2 times. But I think it'll all even out, and I know someone will end up getting confused by doing that somehow. So I just simply alternate it. I used to do push-pull legs for quite a while when I had my actual gym, but now that I don't have that, I'm doing the dumbbell stuff, and I think it's just a lot easier to do upper lower than it is to do like a push-pull legs, because I feel like I'd be doing maybe 5 things that way. I haven't really noticed any kind of disadvantages. It takes a little bit longer, but that's not always a problem. I know that I could just shorten it to kind of 1 set per exercise as opposed to 2, and obviously just max it out, well, like I try and do anyway. But yeah, I'm kind of still a newbie for the gym, so I'll leave the rest off to these boys.
Sure. I would say there's something to be said about personal preferences. I know a lot of people just enjoy going to the gym on a somewhat regular basis. So where I normally start people in my studio with full body workouts, if somebody really wanted to come here, 2-3+ days a week, I would split the routine in such a way that they're not quite hitting everything, every single workout. Everybody also has a different tolerance based on their diet, based on genetics, based on their rest, of how much that exercise they can tolerate in a session and how frequently they can exercise without compromising their recovery abilities. So some of that you tend to kind of fall into with trial and error. And like I said, maybe more so than any other factor, if you enjoy working out frequently, you're probably better off starting with a split instead of doing full body workouts, 2 to 4 times a week. That may be too much for a lot of people. But if I have someone that is just interested in getting a good degree of results, not necessarily optimizing everything, they don't have a real love for the gym. In general, I start people on a full body workout once a week in my studio. But most people, if they're relatively new to lifting, can get away with a full body workout, 3 days a week, every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, possibly 4 days a week if they're just alternating days. And then as you get stronger, the stress on the body becomes bigger. You often find that you'd either need to reduce the frequency with which you're training, maybe reduce the volume that you're performing in your individual routine, or you can go to a split workout so that the magnitude of the stress isn't quite as big in any one single session. But there's a lot of variables that are all kind of being juggled around in there. So, unfortunately, the best any of us can do in answering that is just kind of speak in generalities.
Yeah. On that point, I think you both made really good points, actually. So you obviously got the enjoyment factor. You've got the idea, okay, I want to train so often. I like training. I'm using it for fat loss as opposed to, building muscle and building strength. If you're going to try to burn fat the quickest way possible, it's going to be by eating nothing and exercising a lot, but it's just not very sustainable. So there's not many cases where people would actually do that. But most people that probably follow my channel are, just body recomposition in general. So I think kind of the way I see it is you can continue to lose fat quite handily, providing you eat less and less food. Becomes a point where you start to dip in too much to that muscle mass that you built up. So that's all a big tied together, like a matrix of things where you're trying to recover as well as possible. So kind of Jerome elaborates on the fact that, yeah, some people might do Monday, Wednesday, Friday full body workouts when they're new. But when you've gone past a certain point, you know how to train really, really hard when you up the intensity as time goes on, because you inevitably will. You can't do the same weight forever. You have to increase difficulty level. And as you get bigger and closer towards your genetic maximum or your maximum potential, you'll have to up the ante. So at that point, okay, the full body split will tire you out too much. It'll tire me out too much. I mean, at least give myself the stimulus I need with the variety of movements I need to sort of continue to adapt and grow. I could continue just doing a big 5 kind of workout, 3 times a week. Yeah, I like training, so I want to train 4 times a week as much as possible if I can recover from it. But I also like the emphasis on certain body parts. As a bodybuilder, you always want like a bigger side delts or, I don't know, rounder triceps or bigger calves or whatever it happens to be. So you sort of preferentiate that kind of body part and give it its own specific day, so you can add a bit more volume. But inevitably by doing that, you do end up decreasing the frequency. But in a way, kind of think, if you know you're training a body part 3 times a week, like in a full body split, psychologically, I don't think you can ever really go max out, because you think, oh, the day after tomorrow, I've got to do this again. And you kind of think, oh, I've made up for it because I do it so often. Whereas if you say, I've got 7 days or whatever happens to be to recover from this bout of exercise, you think, all right, I've got 3 sets for this body part, wherever it happens to be. I better nail it. Those 3 sets are going to be much more sufficient at simulating the muscle than doing one half-hour set 3 times a week spread out, I think.
Yeah.
There's so many ways you can look at it. It's I've got a video come out on my paid members channel thing, and it'll be Advanced Hypertrophy 101. So I'll give you, I think I've actually sent Ben the slides for it, but it'll give you all the parameters of your training. So everything you think of, so reps, sets, I don't know, amount of body parts, everything you think about that comes into your workout or in a given time period. That's out there for you to watch. But anything beyond that, you have to work out yourself. So I could not prescribe to someone and say, Jerome approached me off the street and said, oh, hey, you're pretty big. What should I do? Well, I don't know. If you're a labourer and you climb up ladders all day, that's going to be a different set of parameters to someone that's sat in bed all day, So
yeah,
at least give people the parameters of what I think are good principles, at least kind of averages, like guidelines, and people can work it out for themselves. And if you want that, consult with Jerome that way, or consult with me, and that's the best way to go about it.
Or Sophie,
I think, or Sophie.
I'm not a coach just yet. We haven't fully decided whether I'm going to do that under his business or not. Still in discussions, isn't it?
Yeah, I think with Sophie's level of knowledge and her coaching what she's good at, I think it has a very specific niche. So people with big weight loss goals that need a push, motivation, some ideas around recipes, that sort of would be her niche. Now, Sophie's not experienced in getting people from, I don't know, 10% body fat to 4% body fat yet. So I wouldn't ask her to do that. But she's going to be learning from me and vice versa. I'm going to be showing her how to coach someone when I eventually get into shape, maybe next year. So she'll see firsthand what someone looks like, what a body fat percentage level looks like, how much food goes in and out, the training, how you manage all that. And she'll have firsthand experience. She'll know exactly what it's like, because she'll be there to support me, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
We've got a lot to learn. I'm still learning how to deal with stupid people on the internet. So
And just going back to Ben's question.
Yeah. What did I say back? What did I say in the last video? It was like moronic idiots on the moronic idiot comments online or something in my last video.
Something like that.
Sorry, Sophie. What do you say?
Just going back to Ben's question, I think you just do whatever works for you. Like we all three of us, I think, train differently. We all have a different split. We all do differently. We're still reaching not the same goal, but as in our own individual goals, we're still reaching them. You just got to do what works for you. You boys might have a lot more time than I have. So you could do a longer, you could do a full body 2 times a week, 3 times a week, or do 4 sets for one kind of exercise. Whereas I don't have 2 hours to spend at the gym, or an hour, to be fair. So yeah, you'll soon figure it out as to which will work better for you. It's just trial and error. Do it one way, give it a couple of weeks, and if it's not working, try another way, try a different split. Like Jonathan said, if not, then just book a consultation with these chaps up here.
Yeah, and Ben always comes to the table with good questions, and that's helpful because I answer his questions in a consultation. Then that gives him different ideas. Then it kind of redirects his thoughts towards, okay, maybe I shouldn't be looking at this. Oftentimes it's completely different to what you think. We talked about recovery recently, and he actually knew off the bat what I'd probably suggest, but I gave my own preference of what I'd probably do first, and that's probably quite useful. What would you say, Drew?
I was just going to say that despite some of the small differences in how we train or maybe look at diet a little bit differently, we're all in agreement with the same basic fundamental principles. And at least with exercise, keep your exercises as intense as you safely can at a volume and frequency that you can recover from, and let that adaptation happen and support it with a species appropriate diet. And, we might throw some hypotheticals around out there. Do we think it's better to reduce the volume at one workout or increase the frequency? And those are interesting discussions, but people are too pedantic when it comes to being picky about routines, when we should be firm on principles and flexible on routines.
Yeah.
And me, Jonathan, Sophie, Bart K, a lot of people in this space, we all agree with the same basic fundamental principles of exercise: intense, brief, relatively infrequent, at a volume and frequency that your body can handle. Because my body is different than Jonathan's body, is different than Sophie's body, and it's different than Ben's body or anybody else that's listening. And there is some trial and error. And a lot of times what me and Jonathan are doing when we're working with people is we're using the experience that we've had in our own lives and with the dozens, if not hundreds of people that we have talked to over the years to kind of come up with the best estimate for that situation based on your needs and your preferences. There's a million ways to skin a cat. There's a lot of different ways to get the job done. So not anything we say, I shouldn't say that, but a lot of times when we're making these very fine adjustments, we're inductively making inference to what we believe is going to best get the job done, but we're not speaking from an absolute sense.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
I was trying to figure out what that sound effect was.
Was it not loud enough for you?
I heard it. I just didn't get the context.
Increase it for next time. No, there wasn't any context. It's a button I just wanted to press because I haven't listened to it anymore.
Because he's like a child. That's why.
Us guys never grow up. We're always going to be little 5 and 6 year old boys. The only thing that changes is we grow facial hair and body hair.
Get taller.
Yeah.
Hey, Patricia, how's it going? Nice to see you. We've got Andy as well. Andy's kindly joined. Andy lives between us, Sophie.
Does he?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. On the south coast.
Oh, nice. There was somebody in the live when I was with Nicole and Pim last night, and he was from London.
JM Nutrition or something, or JM Coaching.
Yeah, I think his name's Neil. NM or JM. Yeah, NM. I couldn't read it from this distance. But yeah, he's from London.
He sounds like you.
I know, right? because I'm apparently a Londoner.
Yeah, so Lamb said, I noticed a change in Sophie's face, more defined and leaner the last few weeks. What did you change, or am I imagining things? Yeah, so we've tried to reduce Sophie's stress by alleviating some of the problems that the carnivore diet was causing her. It seems to be effective. I think Sophie looks a bit leaner in the face. It's strange because I would have thought, she'd hold a bit of information, but I guess for her, maybe it's the small amount of carbs that she does eat is perhaps less of a factor than being stressed from dealing with being so precise with a diet. Maybe my metabolic rate is probably faster having in more carbohydrates than not. But faster doesn't mean better. It doesn't mean more satiated. It means you have to eat more food and spend more money. So I can still lose fat regardless. I mean, but saying that, when I did compete my last show, I dieted on what they'd call 3,600 calories at my lowest point. Then a show before that in 2018, I dieted on 2,800. And I wasn't carnivore for that show. So it kind of says maybe the carnivore diet is better at least balancing out your hormones or something, or keeping your metabolic rate upregulated. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then again, saying that, I was also doing 3.5 hours of exercise a day, so it could be that as well. So I honestly couldn't say, but I think that's all to be discussed in perhaps next year. But yeah, what do you guys think about? I mean, Jerome and Sophie, what do you think about your face being leaner? Do you think there's a specific reason why?
With Sophie, I mean, I've definitely noticed it. Yeah, it makes me wonder if just having a little bit less stress. My other thought too is as water rich as some fruit can be. I saw you were eating watermelon in one of your pictures. There's not a lot of sugar in watermelon, but it's 99% water. Maybe you're just retaining a little bit less water too.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't noticed it, to be honest, but then I am my own worst critique. Like, I will make a comparison picture and then I'll send it to Jonathan, and then he will critique it, if you like. Or even like any kind of picture. Like, I think I put it up on the crew group where he said the V taper, if I pronounce that right. I had to ask him what that was. Because I don't see it. I still see the 150 kilo person staring back at me. I don't see the 8 stone weight loss. And every time I jump on the scales, and if it's gone up, probably from stress, lack of sleep, or just simply water weight or hormones, my head goes to, oh, you're gaining weight, you're getting fat. Well, actually, I know that there's like a million reasons that the scale's gone up. And I think when I was doing my weight loss journey video, and I was reading out like the weights and stuff like that, I thought, oh my God, it's like 2 to 4 pounds that has fluctuated from March. Like, get a grip, Sophie, for fuck's sake. It's not the end of the world. So yeah, I think I've reducing the strictness and not trying to be so perfect, and just trying to remove the guilt, I think, is the problem, because I know I can have anything I want. It's, I'm allowed anything I want. It's just don't take the piss. And I think it's the guilt from having it that didn't help, because then it would, get in the brain and fixate and overthink, as women like to do. We like to overthink all the time. So yeah, we talked about it on the live yesterday about like food freedom. So I've kind of gone, I'm not labeling anything good, bad, or I'm not labeling this a diet per se. It's just kind of, if I want it, I'll have it, but I'll add stuff to make it better. So like, if I want a yogurt, well, I'll add Greek yogurt to it because that's got a bit more protein in it, bulks it out. I'll add some protein powder to it, make it more of a meal, as opposed to like a little fruity yogurt or something you get from the grocery store. So just like that kind of thing, really. So like Jonathan said, to try and take the stress, because I thought I would look more puffy or look bigger, because obviously I'm having more carbohydrates, more water from foods compared to when I was like more strict carnivore. But I don't know, maybe the reducing of the stress has kind of helped. But thank you very much, Lambs, for noticing what I didn't.
Well, it definitely shows in your face and it shows in your physique. And just thinking in the last few months, and I don't know if it's necessarily the carbohydrates or just long-term being far more animal-based, like your skin just looks very, very young. The more I talk to you and the more videos of yours I see, it looks very young, very vibrant, and like if you pinch a baby's cheek, how it just snaps right back into place. Like my skin's like a worn catcher's mitt, and if I squeeze it, it'll just sag. But your skin looks very radiant and glowing and healthy, and it's some of the small things like that you don't always see, and
No, I just see the blemishes.
and we're our own harshest critics sometimes. So like I know the feeling too. Like I've been, even the last time I was 193 pounds and I was pretty lean, I still, like, I would look at myself in the mirror and I could see abs and I still felt like the fat 297 pound guy standing in front of the mirror. And that's why sometimes some of that validation that you get from other people can be so meaningful. Because your progress has been absolutely incredible. And I know that you're still moving in that direction, and maybe it doesn't get stated enough. And one of the things I love about Pim's channel is trying to have a healthy relationship with food, because as someone who's been significantly heavier, it's always there in the back of your mind. You could be eating a perfectly measured, healthy meal that is going to continue to put you closer to your goals, but you're still thinking in the back of your head, like, how terrible you feel, that like maybe you should be doing something different, or you're eating too much, or there's something fundamentally just not right with you.
It's like you're in my head, Jerome. Gosh, how did you know?
So so I definitely get that too. And I was talking to Jonathan on Instagram the other day, and I thinking that, like, really, and I want to plug your video that you just did with the carnivore diets going to shit, and you were talking about macronutrient ratios. There are too many people that are getting really legalistic, trying to hit exact ratios with their diet. And yes, it's important to be physically healthy, but we want to have healthy mental and emotional relationships with food too. We shouldn't feel guilty putting high quality fuel into our body in an appropriate dose. And we shouldn't obsess over a precise number of grams or trying to hit the exact right perfect ratios. And as Jonathan pointed out, there are contexts to where that's extremely important, like getting ready for a physique competition. But being the father of a daughter, I can't imagine how awful it must be sometimes, being a woman coming up and having the media and tons of people tell you what to think, how to feel, how to look, how you should behave, what's healthy, what's not, what to do, what not to do. The number of voices that you guys are inundated with on a daily basis is overwhelming. And I only see a small, and let alone what kind of internal struggle and dialogue that creates. That must be, I imagine that's so frustrating. So I think if you're able to continue to focus on healthy foods and do so in a way where you don't feel guilty about what you're eating, then that's awesome. That's a lot closer to the long-term goal. What's going to get you closer to your physique goals, but enforce a positive relationship with food. And like Jonathan and I are every bit as guilty during a contest prep. If we mess up one little thing about diet, the amount that we beat ourselves up with one little deviation that over the course of 12, 16 weeks isn't going to make a difference anyways. I imagine a lot of women go through that on a daily basis, to where we might experience that very infrequently. So you're doing so many things, on such a great level. And sometimes when you're in the thick of it, it's hard to see that progress. It's like your kids growing. Like, you don't recognize them growing every single day, but you might get Maddie or Tilly back from, their dads. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, like my kid just grew a couple inches. It's kind of the same thing. That's one thing that I really love about watching your channel and watching you really kind of step out into your own and be more expressive with your journey, is I get a certain perspective that you don't always get to see. And that motivates me to continue to try and push myself harder in my goals. So you don't always see it, Sophie, but like you're doing awesome. And you're doing great. And if you can eat in such a way to where you're still getting closer to your goals, but you're not feeling guilty about the food that you're putting in your body, that's a win-win. That should be the goal that everybody is trying to get towards.
Yeah. And I think because I've got girls, like you were saying, obviously you're a father of a daughter. And I think because I've got girls, and I've always struggled with, you know, my body image, my weight, the food, like everything. I wouldn't want to pass that on to them. Like the kids don't even see me weigh, and if they do happen to watch me weigh because I clearly can't even wee in peace, then I just say I'm checking my muscles, and that's it. Because obviously they know I gym. I just say I'm checking my muscles, because I don't want them to have the relationship with food that I've struggled with, and I try not to make little comments about foods. And me and Jonathan try and watch what we say in regards to foods, especially to each other and around the kids, because I don't want them to pick up anything and then do what I do and overthink about it. Because it isn't healthy, and I am trying to kind of label them. They're not good, they're not bad. I think I said to Tilly the other day, you've got good fuel and you've got like firework fuel. So the good fuel is the one that's going to keep you full for longer and make your tummy feel really good, and then the firework fuel is going to be, I mean, it's going to be great now because it tastes yummy, but you're not going to feel great in a little bit, or you're going to want some more. So kind of weigh it up like that way, just so that they don't have the whole I can't eat this constant diet culture, because it's terrible being a woman as it is. Like you say, we've got tons of pressure, and I'm sure you blokes have like the exact same. You've got to look a certain way and not have a dad.
I look how I want to look.
Yeah,
exactly. You look for how you're happy. So yeah, I'm trying, and I'm hoping I can do a few more videos where I kind of maybe open up a bit more and, you know, talk about what probably every woman is thinking, but nobody says it.
Well, if you ever do a video on what every woman is thinking, I imagine there'll be a large subset of men that will be watching that like very attentively,
taking notes.
Yeah, because if you know what women are thinking, then shit, I'm gonna be there taking notes and asking questions.
Yeah,
that's it. I that's part of the reason I wanted Sophie to start up a channel, because I know she's going to do a skydive in a few months. Okay, she's done that. She'll get that thrill. She'll get that achievement. You know, she's raised some money for a charity. But then what? Once you achieve one thing which you think is so spectacular, if you're competitive for yourself, or you're maybe unsure about your abilities in the future, you'll set yourself a challenge. So YouTube for her could be a challenge, and it doesn't have to be, you know, 4 videos a week with lives, and it'll just be what she wants to do as frequently as she seems fit. But she'll be able to say, okay, I made 2 videos this week and I got 20 more subscribers, or 50 more subscribers, or however many more, and she'll see the benefit of that. So I get that quite a lot, and that's something I can ongoing. There's never a limit to what you can achieve. I'm kind of going that direction myself because of the bodybuilding stuff. Like I kind of feel like I won't be a pro with my current issues, so to speak. So with that being said, I'm kind of like more focused on doing other things now. So I've got heaps of interests. I've got loads of things I enjoy doing. It's just most of the physical ones I can't do. I can't play table tennis. I can't play golf. I can't play basketball. I can't play badminton. I can't do Olympic weightlifting. I'm pretty much stuck in terms of physical sports. So part of the reason is, well, I've got all this information, all this experience, like probably what most people would take to learn over a lifetime. I'm still quite young. I can still push that forward to someone else. Then Sophie can do the same with her channel. She can push her experience of being a mother, dealing with society the way it is, at least in England. And Jerome can do the same thing with his channel, his experience working with different clients, being a dad as well. So, you know, we've all got valuable input. It doesn't all have to come from a doctor. Some of the best words of wisdom come from people like plebs, like Jerome. So
it's interesting to me how, like, especially amongst bodybuilders, there's kind of like this badge of honor where we look at a lot of like the fitness guys that are doing really well on YouTube and just crushing it in terms of sales. And like part of us is like, who the F is this guy? Like, what have they ever won? What have they ever competed in? And really, like, you don't need to. You don't need to do really well online. And the name I mentioned earlier, Vince Del Monte, 7 figures in 7 consecutive years. I think he competed in one show a couple of years ago just to get it under his belt. But if you look at like the Jeff Cavaliers, you know, of Athlean X and some of these other bigger channels, that they're not necessarily competitive bodybuilders. If you have a decent looking physique, people will listen to your message. And then if you have a value that you can provide to them, there's money to be made. So like, yeah, Jonathan may never be able to turn pro bodybuilder, but he'll have a bigger impact on the world with what he's doing with his channel and with his coaching and the products and the services that he provides than he ever would, no matter how big he got in bodybuilding. You know, winning trophies on stage is great. It's a tremendous personal achievement, but you're going to reach a much bigger audience and truly change lives with what you're doing on a regular basis now compared to being at 3% body fat on stage, you know, for 16 hours.
One of the reasons I started my channel was because this guy, I don't know if you guys can see, so this is a pro bodybuilder, and he died about 2 years ago, and he didn't have to die. He died because he was listening to what other people were telling him to do. That was common knowledge in the industry that was harmful. And there's countless other examples. I can't even imagine how many people that snort, you know, pre-workout powder, people that take lots of stimulants and go in saunas. This is all general practice in bodybuilding, at least in the elite circles. They will do some really crazy things, which you think, all that for, you know, a little trophy, maybe a check for, like, I don't know, $2,000 or something. And people like this die. That's one of the main reasons I started my channel. So I've kind of found that I'm trying to develop myself within the carnivore community, so I've changed my name to Carnivore Muscle. And once you have a big enough kind of ground, you can start to cover other areas. That's what a lot of people have done. Some people now, they cover anti-aging, they cover biohacks, they cover fitness, training, you know, certain diseases, like chronic fatigue. People go into so many different angles, mental health, dealing with addictions, relationship advice, all these different things. So that's kind of where I'm coming at right now. So the carnivore community seems pretty easy to attack. All you have to do is say the same thing that everyone else is saying, and you're on to a winner, apparently. You know, I hear the same commentary from everyone all the time, saying the same things from videos. I'm like, God, this is going to be so easy to build a channel in this space. Like, you get one shout out from a top channel and, you know, you're set pretty much. So I think with that big enough following, I'll be able to start addressing the things that I want to address, like why this guy died, people with autism, why they live for an average 16 years less than everyone else, what they can do to mitigate that, the things that are kind of make a bigger difference and make a bigger move in terms of long-term health outcomes for people. So that's kind of my angle on it. So Carnivore Muscle is not the end rendition of Jonathan Griffiths, I'll tell you that much.
I just have one thing to say. It's actually telling off to you, Jonathan, because in your previous bit that you were talking, you said the C word.
Yeah.
You said crap?
No, even even
carbs?
I said
calories.
I abbreviated that. Reason being, because I wanted a quicker way of saying I ate, what was it, 550 protein, 50 carbs, whatever it was, and 150, 200 grams of fat. But then I ate 250 protein, 300 carbs, and 105 grams of fat. But if I say it doesn't quantify to people, they won't remember.
They can't
six
see
strings
that.
of numbers. They'll just say, "Oh, he said a lot of numbers." So
and they can't
good spot.
I get it. I just had to tell you off.
I'm laughing because my first thought was the C word that is not okay to say in America by any extent, but is pretty common in the UK and Australia and other parts of the world. I was like, oh, wow. I don't think I've ever heard Jonathan say that.
No, he wouldn't.
Not often.
No.
All right.
Don't like
I'm
that
going to step away for 60 seconds and have a wee, as Jonathan would say. I'll be right back.
Drum's had it. He's evaporated. He's teleported. So Sophie, you got a comment from someone saying, from Luz Stefani, saying, beauty are making the training of babies and doing the home, then I also exercise too, right? Also, who we are not much able to move when we're losing the weight, also our body asks for more. I believe she's Portuguese or Spanish. Forgive me which one, I can't remember, my brain's full, but that's kind of why the English is slightly broken, but she's saying you're doing a good job, apparently.
Thank you. And obviously when you're bigger trying to exercise, it is then different, and your body, I think once you get a feel for it, your body kind of asks for more. And I think I was saying with you, Jonathan, at the beginning of my second time of the weight loss journey, about how helpful it would have been to see a bigger person doing all these kind of exercises. because it will look different. Like me and Jonathan could do the exact same exercises. We could both do like mountain climbers, but it's going to look and feel probably quite different for both of us because I've got more fat on me than he does. He's already toned up, muscled up. He knows exactly what, what should be moving. And I'm still learning it. And I think that would have helped me at the beginning, seeing a bigger person in the gym doing it. But all you ever see is the stick thin, airbrushed, muscular people. And it doesn't always help. But if I can get my confidence up to kind of record the workouts in sports bra and shorts or something, then I may do. But otherwise, it'll be a pump cover and shorts kind of video.
Yes, I see this myself. It's a real task to get anyone to send you a progress picture where they're, wearing, a top and some shorts, at least showing like what the midsection's like and that sort of thing. It's a real task, and that's for both men and women. It's more common amongst women. Women are a bit more shy. But you have to face yourself in the mirror each day.
Yeah. So I've gotten better. Like I now post in sports bras, and I think I've done a couple of videos on our Carnivore crew group, which I think people can still join, can't they? In like videos in like sports bra and kind of trousers, but yeah,
that's cool. We got Nicole in the house.
Hi, Nicole.
Hello.
Got Christopher as well. He's kindly joined us. Southampton changed for the New Forest. Yeah, not far from me at all. New Forest is about 2 or 3 miles away, apparently. Not too bad.
Yeah.
If the carnivore diet makes you look younger, that's something people would notice. Yeah, I think sometimes there's a lag effect as well, like with diet. Like it might not be. It's the same with building muscle. Like you'll train, you won't necessarily see the results or the yield of that training for weeks and months after. Same with fat loss. That's why people get the whoosh effect. Maybe Sophie's dropped some information. All of a sudden, it's just the skin's tightened up a bit. So it could be lots of things.
Yeah. I am going to be going in about 5 minutes, guys, just so you know.
Yeah. Man of my years doesn't have to get up till 8 tomorrow.
Well, late.
Not bad. I've been sleeping in a bit. I've had to use some herbal medicines to help me sleep. It does seem to work. I don't need to wake up in the middle of the night. So
that's good.
Just don't use too much because otherwise you don't feel right.
Yeah.
I've got banging headache today. I tried a ketone product, Jerome, that had cocoa in it or chocolate or something in it. Oh.
Sure.
I've had a headache since 8 o'clock this morning. It's 12 and a half hours.
That sounds awful.
Yes, it is definitely awful.
And it wasn't just me rambling in his ear, nagging him.
I tried to watch loads of films today, but I wasn't very successful.
No.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys think that it's starting to change now? Because obviously people are talking about like body positivity and not taking it too seriously what you see online. People seem to be a bit more upfront about it. Like, this is what I look like.
Yeah.
Like I see people come up on my feed sometimes, and there'll be all sorts of different shapes and sizes, and they're like, I don't know, Big Brenda or fuck knows what her name is, or I don't know. All these people are meant to be like models, but they're like plus size models. And that seems to be, I don't know. Do you think there's a fine line there, or do you think it is a benefit overall?
I think it's good to be confident. I mean, I don't think they should promote kind of being unhealthy, but then at the same time, don't judge a book by its cover. Like, you've seen my mum. Obviously, she's not big, she's tiny, but I'm probably fitter than she is. But you would look at me and her together, and you would assume that she is the fitter one because she's smaller than me. But no, I could probably outrun her, definitely out gym her. Let's be honest, and outlift her. I'm definitely fitter than her, but yeah, looks wise you wouldn't see it. But I think it's good to get kind of more confident in your own skin, no matter how you look, and that's the same for blokes as well. But I quite like seeing different body shapes and sizes, embracing them. I think, like, like we've said, we're kind of under pressure to look a certain way, and obviously if you don't look a certain way, you're doing things wrong, and it's like, well, does every bloke look the same? No, you don't. Like,
Yeah,
so, yeah.
us guys definitely get the better side of that double standard. There's a lot of women that find a dad bod to be particularly attractive. I don't know, I guess, to answer Jonathan's question. I'm inclined to believe that the body positivity movement here, at least in the States, is probably more skewed in terms of accepting different body sizes and types. But I still think aging tends to carry a somewhat negative connotation to it, more so than body size or proportions, which is a shame, because I really think people have their best years ahead of them far longer than a lot of us expect. I think we're really taking care of ourselves, eating well, exercising. I think we can be really damn close to our prime well into our 60s for most of us, barring some kind of massive like physical limitation or something. So yeah, I don't know. I try and avoid as much media as possible, at least like mainstream media. I'm on social media, but I'm not really browsing it. I'm usually just communicating with Jonathan and Sophie and a couple other people. But I'm very protective of what I put in front of my eyes and what I listen to and what I watch. So I really don't give it, what, in terms of what the mainstream media promotes.
Yeah, I guess I've seen it from both sides, both in terms of like seeing really unhealthy people, then seeing people that are really fit and healthy. And to be honest, I've met a lot of these people that are in the magazines. I've met most of them, at least within the last 10 years or so. And oftentimes you're honestly underwhelmed. When you see them in person, you're underwhelmed. There's very few people I've met where I think, got great body, great physique, good skin, this, that, and the other. Very, very few examples. The only people that stick out to me, like as bodybuilders, Phil Heath, Cedric McMillan. That's about it.
Yeah.
Everyone else looked off the head on hard drugs, shaky, jittery, didn't seem calm or anxious, didn't come across like they enjoyed life. So, I think there's a fine line to it. And I think probably as much as we want to look at people that are in the magazines and stuff, I don't think that's representative of what a healthy person is. I mean, people make the commentary about, what's his name? The duck egg guy. Mike O'Hearn.
Sure.
Yeah, he's had a lot of plastic surgery. But I wonder, has he had that and he'd actually look good regardless? Because he looks great, but he's had plastic surgery. But do you think that he's done that because he's insecure about losing his weight? Because he's been, a top world level sort of model for so many decades.
Yeah.
Do you think he's got to a point now he's like a bit fearful of losing it, so he's pumped his face full of chemicals?
Could be. I tend to think and if you look at a lot of gyms around here as a bit of a segue, there really aren't a lot of older personal trainers. Past a certain point, I think you need to kind of know what you're going to get out of the fitness industry and then how you're going to segue that into something kind of long term, which is why the internet is so great. There's a number of guys that are putting out excellent channels for men over 40, 50, 60, and so on. But you need to know your niche and you need to know how that relates to that stage of where you're at in your life. And some people stay in the game too long, whether it's bodybuilding, whether it's professional wrestling. That industry is replete with people that should have gotten out of the business 10, 20 years ago, but they still want to wrestle and hold the other guys down, or any professional sport at all. So, yeah, that's interesting to think about.
Right, let's go on to the last question. I'll let Sophie go. So,
all right.
Relicane asked, what do you think of rice or sand bucket training for hand wrist strength? I don't know what that is, but Jerome will probably explain it.
I'm wondering if he means like martial artists that will kind of punch their knife fingers or a fist into rice or sand or harder substances to build up the density and the toughness of the skin and of the bones in the hand to prepare for striking. But that's really, it's just one application of what's called Wolff's Law of Resistance. When you break a bone, the overcompensation, the bone grows back a little bit thicker and a little stronger and a little more dense at that point where the break occurred as a protective mechanism against further future stresses. A callus is the same way. Muscular hypertrophy is largely the same. It's a little bit different. But the idea is that a physical stress on the body plus time to accommodate allows for overcompensation. I'm not a fan of anything that's very high impact. Now, if you're in a striking sport, yeah, you probably have to do that to some extent. You're going to want, too many boxers will break bones in their hands. And same with guys in like MMA. It's very common they'll break some of the smaller, bones in their hand when striking an opponent, and then they have to get it numbed up. Otherwise, they're trying to punch someone with a broken hand, and it hurts like hell. That takes a couple of rounds for those drugs to kick in. So some of that is probably necessary, but it would be very context specific. If you're trying to strengthen the muscles of the hand, grip work, pinch grip work is probably about as good as it's going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I've got nothing to add. I think I have to see what the person means to give an exact answer.
I'm reminded of a book I had that John Little may have written it, but it was on Bruce Lee's training system, Jeet Kune Do. And it wasn't Bruce, but there was a picture of a guy that had his hands so heavily calloused on his first two knuckles from punching sand and these buckets just repeatedly. The callus had gotten so thick he could withstand a hammer blow on his knuckles and it wouldn't hurt him. Now, granted, like Bruce came from the Wing Chun camp, and Wing Chun punches with the bottom two knuckles instead of the top two. So it's a little different in that regard, but I think that's kind of where he was going with that. You see it a lot in martial arts, punching either straight fingers or fists into buckets of usually rice, and then you move up progressively to harder substances to continue to toughen up your hands.
I wouldn't be doing that. It sounds dangerous.
No, not. It's not safe.
Well, it's a better use of rice than eating it.
Sounds a bit unnecessary. I'd rather just do like the grit test.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, we'll probably wrap up now as we're all sort of tired. Jerome needs another wee. He's been drinking too much water. And Sophie's tired. And I've been up since I don't know what time. So we're going to go to sleep. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks very much, everyone, for all the questions you kindly offered us today. Hopefully we've been helpful. I appreciate you guys watching. Any last words, guys?
No, I just want to thank everybody for their time. As always, I still feel very honored and flattered that you continue to have me on here for some reason. So thank you.
Yeah, what a disaster.
Hearing his fucking